Think what a great thing it is to be a part of something that is the team. The team, the team, the team.
Let's talk about the position of catcher. We are hoping to find ideally 4 players who we can depend on to catch consistently in scrimmages and games throughout the season. The qualities that we look for in a catcher. Number 1, pretty simple. She has to be able to catch pitches consistently. Pitches that are too difficult to catch, catcher needs to keep those in front of her consistently. So really the biggest quality in a catcher is to keep the ball in front of her as much as possible. When the ball gets behind the catcher, base runners can advance and even score. Number 2, a catcher has to be able to throw the ball back to the pitcher accurately on a consistent basis. We don't want throws back to the pitcher, getting by the pitcher, because base runner in that situation, base runners can advance and even score. Third, a catcher has to be aware of where she should throw the ball in a steal situation. And we'll get into more detail on that later in the video, but a catcher has to know which base should be thrown to in a steal situation. And then finally, as part of that, we're looking for catchers who can throw with consistent accuracy when trying to throw out those attempted base stealers. Now let's talk about how to get into proper catching position. We want to start completely flat-footed with our heels on the ground, because when we start our crouch like that, that will allow the big muscles in the upper back of our legs to absorb most of the burden rather than our knees. So as we squat, we want to stay on our heels as long as we can and then transition to the toes. Now, in a catcher's crouch, you can have both heels off the ground if you feel like you can maintain good balance that way. Me, at my age and my decreased flexibility, I feel like I need to keep one foot flat on the ground. But we have to have at least one foot with the heel off the ground to give us greater motion, ability to move quickly, and ability to pop up and make a throw quickly. So we can't have both heels on the ground. We definitely cannot have any knees on the ground. This greatly reduces our ability to block balls off to the side, and it makes us much slower getting up trying to throw out a base stealer. So you can either have both heels off the ground in your crouch or one heel off the ground in your crouch. We want to give our pitcher a target right down the middle of the plate and probably just above the knees of the batter, although we can certainly adjust based on the pitcher. If a pitcher likes a higher target, we can adjust just for them. But in general, we'll give a target that is just above the knee of the batter, right down the middle of the plate. Excuse me. We don't want to be stiff, we don't want to fully extend our arm, we want to be as nice and relaxed as possible with our wrist and our elbow. And we want to keep our throwing hand behind our back. This protects it from foul balls. If we have this is the one position where we want you to catch the ball with one hand. We don't want to have our bare throwing hand out anywhere where the batter's bat or foul ball can hit it. So we protect it, keeping it back here, nice and comfortable, and when the pitch comes, we can adjust to catch it. Now let's talk about how to react when a pitch bounces, which is definitely going to happen throughout the season. So if a pitch bounces in front of a catcher, they have to go into a position called drop and block. They have to go quickly from a crouch, both knees on the ground, legs closed, glove on the ground, throwing hand foot behind the glove, head down. And what will happen is the ball will bounce, might hit the glove, might hit the arms, might hit the chest, but we'll keep it in front of us. And remember, a catcher will have lots of equipment on, so you'll be reasonably well protected. Now, if a pitch bounces inside or outside the plate, the catcher will have to do what's called a step, drop, and block. She'll have to quickly take a step to the side and then drop and block to attempt to get in front of the ball. As a catcher, we want to avoid as much as possible trying to just stab a bouncing ball with your glove without getting your body in front of it. That's a recipe for the ball getting by us and for a base runner being able to advance or score. So whenever we see a ball traveling inside or outside that's going to bounce, we want to take that step, drop, block. Finally, let's talk about a responsibility for catchers that is completely new to the squirrels, attempting to throw out a base runner. So, when we're trying to throw out a base stealer, that will either be at second or third base. And a catcher also needs to have great awareness of where they should throw. Second base is 84.5 feet from home plate. Third base is 60 feet from home plate. So, whenever we have a choice of throwing to second or throwing to third, we're always going to throw to third. It's a much shorter throw, nearly 25 feet shorter. So in a situation where there are runners on first base and second base, and they steal, obviously the runner at second has to steal for the runner at first to be able to steal. The runner at second has to vacate that base, or else the runner at first will have no chance to steal. So, and that's called a double steal, when two players try to steal at the same time. In a double steal situation, the throw always goes to third. The only time we're ever going to throw to second would be if there is just a runner on first base. When there's a runner on first base and third base, we're not going to throw to second. Because if we throw to second, then the runner on third can steal home. So there's only one time as a catcher that we're ever going to throw to second base to get out an attempted stealer. And that's if there's a runner on first base, that's it. First base, nowhere else. There's no risk then of us trying to throw down to second to get them out. But if there are runners on first and second, and they double steal, we throw to third. If there is a runner on first and third, we hold on to the ball to keep that runner at third base. And we'll just let them have second. They can use their steal that way. I'd rather have that happen than allow the runner at third to score. So, how do we go about throwing out a base runner? Well, a throw to second is fairly simple because you have a completely clear throwing lane. We will work on getting our pitchers to duck to make sure that throwing lane is clear. But what I mean by that is the batter is not going to be in your way. So it will be a simple catch, turn. As we turn, of course, ball out of the mitt, throw. So that's a pretty easy one, as long as the pitcher remembers to duck, which we'll work on in practice. Throwing to third base is a little more difficult because we have a batter here that's going to impede us a little bit, and they may not always get out of the way. So what we do in that situation is, assuming it's a right-handed batter, which at least 9 out of 10 times it will be, the catcher will have to take a step into the left-handed batter's box to give herself a little room. So it would look something like step, step and throw down to third base. Instead of simply throwing from back here, where the batter might directly be in your way, we'll just step up a little bit into the left-handed batter's box, step and throw. where we'll have a little bit of room. Obviously, if it's a left-handed batter, which it will be in rare instances, we can simply step and throw. But we always have to be conscious of that batter. Don't rely on them getting out of the way. And those are some of the basic fundamentals of how we play catcher. See you next time.